Good evening, Dr. Shew, and any TAs that may see this. My name is Jewelle Horton, and today I am presenting my project on the pathogenesis of brown rot of citrus pathogen Phytophthora citrophthora. To start, let's begin with some history. P. citrophthora was first isolated in 1906 from a rotted lemon, and it is native to wherever large amounts of citrus plants are grown or cultivated, such as North, Central, and South America. Like most Phytophthora species, it has a wide host range, but it is most aggressive towards citrus plants such as oranges, lemons, pineapple, etc. It is not a fungi. It is an oomycete, which is fungal-like pathogen, but is more so like a water mold and related to algae. Not only does it cause brown rot, but it causes trunk collapse, cankers, and gummosis, which we will talk more about later. As I said earlier, I will be focusing on the brown rot pathogenesis, which occurs in wet, cool weather and generally affects low-hanging fruit or fruit that has already fallen. The inoculation phase. The inoculation of citrophthora starts with the dispersal method, rain splash, where the pathogen primary inoculum are carried by the water droplets onto the host plant. The primary inoculums for citrophthora are chlamydospores, which can lay dormant in soil until dispersal. Phase 2, infection. To induce infection, the brown rot pathogen needs excessive wet conditions. In fact, for the infection to take hold, the fruit has to stay wet for at least 3 hours. Once the initial hyphae is grown, it will penetrate the host tissue. The oomycete hyphae will dwell in the intercellular space until it comes into contact with a mesophyll cell wall. Then a haustoria will form and penetrate that wall to begin using the host resources. Phase 3, signs and symptoms. The signs and symptoms of brown rot begin with the spotting on the trunk of a host plant. Often the bark, leaves, and blossoms will experience necrosis and fall off. The bark can crack, exposing gummosis, which you can kind of see in this image right here. Some examples of that. Gummosis is basically just a gum liquid oozing from the bark, just a sign of infection. Because of this, the tree can be weakened to the point of collapse if the infection encircles the trunk. Phase 4 is what I kind of focus on, which is the lesion growth on the fruit. As you can kind of see right here, it's like a brown lesion. It usually occurs on the bottom, as mentioned earlier, due to the dispersal method. However, the infection can spread everywhere and will eventually engulf the entire fruit. These brownish olive lesions appear water-soaked and greasy, and they can also produce a very foul odor, which can be used in an attempt to identify the pathogen. Brown rot can affect any part of the plant. Sporulation. I spoke shortly about chlamydospores earlier, and now I will talk to you more about the growth process. Sporangia of the citrophthora are very widely in shape, ellipsoid, ovoid. This one's kind of a ovoid shape, globus, etc. They have specially branched sporangiospores, which are hyphae, where the sporangium is formed by the inflation of the tip of the sporangiophore and then moved laterally after the spore has matured, so that another spore may begin growing, and then they continue that until dispersal. Speaking of dispersal, as our last phase we're going to have right here, the mummified fruit that is covered in the brown lesions and sporulation falls from the tree and lands on the ground, where rain splash and wind dispersal will carry the spores onto the original host for more infection or to a new host. This concludes the PowerPoint section of my presentation. For my creative medium, I have written a short melody describing the inoculation, infection, symptoms, and dispersal of brown rot pathogen citrophthora. It is to the tune of Old MacDonald. Oh, citrus tree, you are so sick, citrophthora. Ooh, my seed lays in cold damp soil, citrophthora. With the rain splash here and the wind blows there, trunk of spores, fruits of spores, even on the root spores, fruit will brown fall to the ground. Citrophthora. Oh, citrus tree, you are so sick, citrophthora. Ooh, my seed lays in cold damp soil, citrophthora. With the rain splash here and the wind blows there, trunk of spores, fruits of spores, even on the root spores, the fruit will brown fall to the ground. Citrophthora. And that concludes the creative medium of my project. If you have any questions about that, you can email me, and thank you for your time.